I'm Mahmoud Atassi. I'm a Syrian Turkish filmmaker. I made this film Eyes of Gaza in the sake of telling the stories of the journalists who are our eyes in Palestine, in Gaza. And I wanted to know how do they live their life, what challenges do they face, and how do they send these images and videos to the whole world to see what is happening on the ground.
So I'm not sure if it's true, but I read there was some development with two of them, not something happened with two of the three journalists, or was it
What exactly? Because there's so much news.
like something they cannot be found or something like that?
No.
No, that's
No, that's
okay.
not true.
Okay.
Yeah.
So tell me a bit, how is their situation now? Where are they? What are they doing?
So right now, Abu Adnan's family succeeded to reach Egypt, but he's still in Gaza. Abu Adnan, he's still working there. For Abdul Qadir, he reunited with his family too, and right now he is just like bringing them water, food, and trying to survive. Mahmoud, he is the brother of Abdul Qadir, and he also like doing the same job just to survive. So right now everyone is just trying to survive this challenge of finding food, finding water, finding a place to sleep, because all of their homes were bombed, as it was shown in the film. So what they did is that they put some curtain from like above their homes. They put some curtain from here, and they just made a space to live in. So yeah, it's hard, but they just hold their lands and their homes. So this small area became their home.
And how did you find out about them? How did you discover those three? How did you meet them, let's say?
Yeah. So when the war started, of course, there are a lot of stories to cover, and many documentaries could be made. But then there's a team inside Al Jazeera who are still focused on ideas. So they propose many ideas to make a film. And when I read them, the one that about journalists like just grabbed my attention. And the idea was like a classic documentary about journalists that we interview them and we listen to their stories. But then I knew that it shouldn't be like this. We should see how they are working, what do they do. And then that I changed the film a little bit and I put the artistic view of the film. Then we started looking for journalists to be like the main characters in the film. And we met many, but then we decided to go to the specific area of the North Gaza because it was the most dangerous area and it was forbidden like for journalists to be there. Israeli army don't want any journalists to be there, don't want doctors to be there. They just want all the people of Northern Gaza to migrate to the southern, like to Rafah. So these people refused. Many of them, like Abu Adnan sent his family to Rafah, but he kept there in Northern Gaza. And they work as a team. So they grabbed my attention and I decided, okay, this is the team that I should work with. And Abdul Qadir was the correspondent of BBC and CNN channel, which are like the mainstream media in the West. So I wanted to cover that story too. But unfortunately, the Israeli army made a reportage about Abdul Qadir that he is a terrorist, and he was fired from both channels. And he was just like without any work for months because of that reportage. So the Israeli army says, it's just like he's saying that if you don't migrate from here, we will either kill you or we will harm your image so that you can't reach the world. Because that's what they want. They want just to cut off every line that connects us with Gaza. They just want to black out and they do whatever they want. That's what they want. So like I met Abdul Qadir online, and I just spoke with him, and he was a really interesting guy. Then I talked with Mahmoud and Abu Adnan, and they were really nice people, and I liked their their way of working and their way of interacting with each other, that they are sleeping in the hospital all together and they go to cover the hot point at the day, and at night they also work and then they go back to the hospital. So I just wanted to know more about them, so we started following them.
And how difficult was it you being there and shooting?
I wasn't.
The logistics?
I wasn't.
Who
I
was
couldn't.
there? Ah, so they
Yeah.
are shooting? Who's shooting?
Yeah. So the thing is, we tried to go to Gaza, but it was impossible. No one in, no one out. Even food, clothes, anything. Nothing can go into Gaza. Nothing can go inside. Nothing can go outside. So what we did is that we depended on their camera phones, the journalists, and we started looking for a cameraman and the cameras. But we couldn't find any for weeks. There are no cameras in Northern Gaza. There are no sound recorders. There are no sound engineer. And the cameraman, we couldn't find at first. But then we found two really good cameramen. And they had old cameras, but it was okay. Not very sure whether they are Canon 5D Mark II or Sony A7 Mark II. I'm not A7 Mark II, yeah. So I'm not really sure which one are they, but it's one of these types. So when we could find the cameraman, we started following them. But before that, we were just only depending on what the journalists shot. And each day they work, and they have internet, access to the internet. So I could talk to them, listen to them, what did they do. I was telling them how to shoot the scenes, how to cover their stories, how to make the film. So since I'm Syrian, I was at war in Syria, so I know I could imagine the situation there, and I could make them like some examples, some files, so they can develop day by day. And that's it. Like you see in the film, two structure. The first one is the cold time that there's not too much bombing, and they are just covering the stories after the bombing. And the other one is when they are under attack and when they are in danger. So when they were in danger, we couldn't send a cameraman with them because we will put another danger on the team. So since they are journalists and it's what they do, and I want to cover this stuff, so they just shot themselves. While the other structure, the cold one, we could send the cameraman and we could cover these stories, like to see how do they live their lives. Because even at war, it's not always bombing. Some hours there are like some space. There are some space. So we could use this some space to tell the stories after the bombing, and when everything like somehow settled down, people just try to go to their homes to see what happened, when people start looking for each other. So these are the two structures in the film.
And how did you work the editing?
Yeah, the editing process. So since there's nothing in, nothing out, and the access to the internet was really hard and very slow and very dangerous. I don't know if you watched the film, but if you watched the film, the journalists go like to the border with Israel, and they use the SIM card, the Israeli SIM card, to upload material. So it's really dangerous to go there, and they go 3 floors up or 4 floors up. So it's really hard and dangerous to find the signal. So what they did is this: whenever they shoot something, they minimize the size too much. Like just imagine 5 gigabits become 50 megabits. All right, and then they upload it, so I can watch and we can talk about the footage. And through the shooting, through the months, they just continue uploading all the materials, the original materials. So what I did is that when I finished my budget for shooting, because I didn't have an aim with my shooting, I'm just following them. It's whatever they are living, it's the film. So when I finished my budget for shooting, what I did is this: I made a rough cut by myself. It was around 2.5 hours, and then I worked with the editor. He's my friend. He's a really great editor. His name is Obada Mhesh. I worked with him to tell the story of these journalists through the editing too. Like so, it had the first stage that I was alone. I was writing the story from the footage. There was no script like normal script of films. No, I was just watching the footage, and I just tried to make a story from these footages like through around the 8 months. And then the editor made his magic, and the film was here.
Okay. How many hours of footage did you end up with?
See, I shot 2 films in Gaza. The first one is Eyes of Gaza. The second one is Under the Rubble, which is the story of Kamal Adwan Hospital. I don't know if you know about it, but the director of Kamal Adwan Hospital, he is Dr. Hussam Abu Safiya.
It's not the hospital we see in the movie.
It's the hospital that we see in the film. In the film. So, the director of the hospital, he is right now under arrest. The Israeli army occupied the hospital and they turned it down. They destroyed it, and they killed the son of the director of the hospital, and they arrested him because he refused to leave Northern Gaza, and he refused to leave the hospital. So he is under arrest till now. Many doctors of the hospital are under arrest. So I made these 2 films. These 2 films combined, I believe it's about 150 hours, something like this. I'm not sure. It's too much. There were too many footages, but it's something like this.
Did you manage to have a shoot of the arrest? Or
No, because I made the film before the arrest, within 2 months,
okay.
and I finished my budget like at that time. So the film is not updated, but it's on Al Jazeera. Yeah.
It's already out.
Yeah, it's on Al Jazeera, but unfortunately, till now it's only in Arabic. I'll try to speak to them to translate it to English, because it's really an important film, because it documents, the Israeli army occupied the hospital for 3 times. So we tell these stories. The 4th time, the hospital was like, not completely, but right now it's destroyed and stopped working at all. So the fourth time was the last time. But in the film Under the Rubble, we tell the story of these 3. Yeah.
Okay, so I'm also curious, how are they as individuals, as persons? Because what impressed me is they still have a sense of humor, right?
It is.
Yeah, it's amazing.
It's how they are. It's how they are, exactly. Because when there are too many hardships, you must find a way. You must have something to hold on to continue your life. You can't just be stressed and just giving up, because they have a duty and they believe in their duty and they believe that they are doing something. As you saw in the film, that they are not hoping from reacting from the other people, but they want to deliver their message. If someone acts, it's okay. That's what they want. But if no one, at least they document the genocide. So they believe that it's their duty, and if they die for it, it's okay. They are fine with that. Even me, if I die for this purpose, it's fine, because I have a duty and I have to deliver. And they have the same belief. So they just continue their lives, and they continue their duty, and they don't leave a space to lose, hope.
And what do you think of the situation in the area now? What is your opinion on what is happening? Do you see any way out? And I don't understand so many years. So the same thing is happening again and again. It's wild.
It's devastating. How to say it? I talked with Abdul Qadir a week ago, and he said that my breast shield is prepared, because any time now it might start just start again. So they are prepared for the worst because they expect that. Israeli army will not stop till Gaza just like completely destroyed and all the people get off Gaza because they don't want people there. They want a land without people because after that they will say this land has no people, so we can take it. So it's the ultimate aim of the Israeli army, and I don't know, but the resistance in Gaza, they are standing their ground, and I believe it might go on because people will not leave their homes, people will not leave their lands, and they want to fight for their rights, and it's their right to fight. Like they want to protect themselves, and the Israeli army want to conquer. So I don't see an out.
Let me ask you something else, a hypothetical question. Let's say that Israel at some point decides, okay, Gaza belongs to the Palestinians. It's yours, we're not going into it. What do you think would happen after that?
They said that about the West Bank. And you see by your eyes what is the result. There is no concrete promise. There is no one can believe them because they are just telling lies. It's not the first time.
Okay.
So, no, I will not believe that they will just leave Gaza alone.
And do you see some similarities there with what happened in Syria?
There is no similarity, but there's something about Syria. Israel wants to expand. So they already took Julan. Julan is part of Syria. They took it 50 years ago or 55 years ago. And right now they are trying to go further, to take more lands from Syria. Since Syria right now is weak, we don't have a very powerful army. We had a very long war for 14 years. And many countries were in Syria fighting too. So the situation in Syria is really hard. So they see a chance by protecting the minorities. They say that there are Druze and there are Alawis and there are Christians. We want to protect them. So what to do is to kill the majority. Yeah, we have to protect the minority while we are killing the majority. And then they just will expand and will take lands. It's their hope and what they are working on. If you just follow the news right now, many Israeli aircrafts just go upside Damascus. They bombed many times in Damascus, in Daraa, in many places. They just bombed and they destroyed almost every aircraft we have in Syria. They don't want an air force for Syria. And they destroyed almost every good weapon we have. So the area is mostly clear, but right now Turkey is trying to defend. They told Israel, if you cross this line, we will interact with you. We will have a fight with you. I'm not sure if it will happen, but I hope it will not. Just keep your hands to yourselves. Let us build our country because we have been in war for 14 years, and that's enough for us. But yeah, it's their strategy to take more lands, and they will not stop for Syria too. It's not Syria only. They are working on Syria, Lebanon, and then part of Turkey, part of Iraq, part of Jordan. So they will expand. They have a map. It's called the Promised Land, and they want this Promised Land, and that's how it's working.
Okay. All right. And tell me a bit. New projects. What are you working on next?
Yeah.
Syria.
I have, but not right now. I directed a film just a week ago. I finished filming. I was in South Africa. Yeah, I directed a film about the Rivonia trial. It's the trial of Nelson Mandela when he was sentenced to life in prison. So it was a docudrama film. I shot the interviews first. I made the script. Then I went back to South Africa. I shot the dramas. And right now, my friend, the same editor, Obadam Hechi, is editing the film. I'm following him online, and I will go after 2 days to finish the film in Istanbul. And after this film, I have another film, which is the trial of Hosni Mubarak in Egypt. I will direct this film for around maybe 2 to 4 months. It's for Al Jazeera too. And after that, I don't have a specific plan, but I'm planning to shoot a film in Syria because I'm going back to Syria. And I'm planning to shoot a film about the mentality of the previous government. How did they came up with this structure, and why did they hold the government too much? They didn't want to let go. And how did they come up with this torture plan? They torture people to death. I don't know if you know the stories of Sednaya's prison. There's a really bad prison in Syria which is called Sednaya, and the stories came from there like it's too horrible. You cannot believe that there are human being can think of this way of torturing people. So I want to meet the ones that are right now in prison. The new government hold them and put them in prison. I want to meet them. I want to know from them more. So it's just a thought, nothing concrete yet. I did not collect a budget for this film yet, but it's what I'm thinking about.
And since you mentioned that you feel this is your duty to record and present those things, do you feel that cinema can make an impact?
Yeah, I believe with the power of storytelling. You know, the film Eyes of Gaza, when I made it, it wasn't meant to be to the Western media. I was just documenting what they are living. I believe that when we tell story, someone will respond. And this film, why it's so important? Because people need to know what is happening inside Gaza. Since no one could go there, and the Israeli media only presenting to the world only like limited footages, and the Palestinian journalists cannot show their materials on mainstream media. Like there was probably only Al Jazeera who was covering the news from Palestine. So it's our duty to document these moments. Then the producer, after he watched the film, he said that, Mahmoud, we should apply to IDFA. I did not know what is IDFA before. Yeah, because I'm a Middle Eastern filmmaker and I did not go to festival before. So I just make films and document what happens in war and the consequences of wars. So all my films about wars and consequences of wars, all of them. So he said that we should go to IDFA. I told him okay. So he translated the film and he just applied. And I was surprised the film was selected, and then I knew how IDFA is big. And I saw the response from the Western audience. I was shocked, like the Western audience want to know more, want to see more. They are like ready to change their point of view. You know, 2 Jewish men came to me and they told me that we destroyed our Israeli passports and we want to be related to Israel anymore, and we changed our last name after they watched the film.
Wow.
Yeah, so there's an impact. There's something is going on. People are standing by each other. And I always tell people, you have something to do. It's not like you have nothing to do. You have something to do. The war is because they have money. And they have money because we pay them. We pay them through products. We should boycott these products who are supporting genocide. And then there's no more war. Like, because America is just sending them billions of dollars of weapons. And from where this money comes from? It's from us, from people. So if we boycott the products that support this genocide, we can make a difference. We can pressure the Israeli government to stop these wars. And since people can be together, they also can raise their voices. They can do demonstrations. They can stand against these horrible acts. So yeah, story make difference.
Good. I guess that's it. Thank you very much.
Thank you very much.